Hello, everybody, and welcome. I hope everyone is having a good day so far. It's Thursday. We've made it past the hump. So we are over halfway through this week. I know I'm seeing a lot more stress out there right now. I don't know if it's just one of the last press conferences was pretty tough. So I don't know if that's what's causing all the stress, the extra stress right now, or if it's just, I don't know what it is, but everybody seems to be getting a little bit more stressed out. So, I just want to stress to you guys the importance of just staying positive and really just filling yourself with positive affirmations first thing every day. So if you're joining me, if you're new and you're just joining me for the first time, my name is Evelyn Knight. I am a childcare center owner, just like most of you. I've been a director and an owner, and I also own a company named Childcare Business Professionals, where I help childcare center learn how to be successful and really learn how to have good, solid business procedures. So a lot of what we're talking about today is a lot of what I do. I help childcare centers develop processes, procedures, that the same kind of thing that has helped me to find success in this market. When I first started as an owner, I didn't know how the structure would really help, right? And I kind of just went day by day. And I'm sure most of you are in the same boat where you come in every day and you just kind of just do what needs to be done, right? And you just don't really have like some kind of guideline. And so when I started working with a coach, she just really, Christine, you guys have seen her on camera if you've been with me for a while. She really guided me and showed me why it's so important to have processes, procedures, and policies, and just to systematize everything, just to have a system for everything. I mean, we seem to just always be hamsters on a wheel in this industry, and that will help you to get off that wheel and to take control. Procedures, processes, and just having solid plan in place, right? Solid systems will help you to feel like you're getting off that wheel. Hi, Vicki. How are you? I hope you're having a good day. But so that's really what I do. I work with owners to help them establish that. Really what it is it's helping you to get control back. Okay. If you feel like your center controls you instead of you controlling your center, then you need procedures, you need a process, you need a system in place so that you can get control of your center. If you're working 40, 50 hours a week, well, most of you 40, but if you're working anything over 40 hours a week and you're just leaving exhausted every day, it's probably because you don't have a system in place. You don't have solid systems. And I mean like documented in writing so you know where to go. So those are the kind of things that I help my members with. That's what we work on every week in our membership. We get together on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we work on developing all of the things I talk about. We actually work on it and learn how to implement it into your own center. So let me know if that's something you would like some help with. I'm more than happy to give you guys information about our membership and the work we do together. But just recapping on what we've been doing, we've been going through the pillars of success. And I want to tell you the reason this is also important and it will recession-proof your business is because it's going to help you to stand out of the crowd. It's going to help you to have a plan in place. It's going to give you that confidence too, to understand that you can make it through this, that now you have a solid business. This is really the difference between just kind of making it day by day and having a solid, sustainable difference in a business. So if you want to have a business that's just really solid and sustainable, these are the pillars you need in place. It's difficult to learn these in just a 1-week session, right? Which is why I offer my membership service. That is why I do what I do, and I work with owners and directors out there so we can develop these together. Accountability, I cannot just express to you guys how important accountability is. And I know for me before, I would tell myself I was going to get all this stuff done, but I just didn't do it until I had my own coach. And once I did, then it's just having that accountability partner. And it's also someone to help break it down. I know that's something that I was talking with on my Tuesday call with my members, where they were telling me just how much they appreciate the fact that I break it down and I take this big thing, right? One of them was saying that like all of this seems so big to her before, but because I've broken it down into really small steps, now she feels like she can achieve her goal, right? And actually we are working on a business plan for her, since she's taking advantage of this whole thing. And she's actually looking at expanding right now because she knows that she's going to be in a great position for expansion. So that's one of the things we were working on with her, is just getting her business plan out. And she said, it seemed like such a huge daunting thing for her, but with the tools that I've given her, now I've put it into these small doable steps. So she feels like now she has that control and that she can do it. So those are the kind of things that we focus on working on together. And I'm more than happy, if anybody would like to make an appointment with me, just let me know. I'm more than happy to have a phone call with you guys, and we can talk about if anybody is thinking about joining our membership and would like to start working with us on a more personal level and just dive deep into this stuff. The reason I bring all this up now is because today we're going to be talking about our fourth pillar, which is your center structure and procedures. Well, with structure and procedures, it's something that is going to take a lot longer than a 45-minute video, for you guys to develop. And it can feel very overwhelming and big. And that's why I would like to offer our services to you guys right now. If you feel like this is just too overwhelming for you, it's unachievable on your own, we're here to help. So just let me know. And it is such a foundational piece. For those of you who are always saying that you don't have time, or your team isn't producing what you want them to produce, or you're just, you just feel like everything is out of control and your parents aren't paying you. If you're having a hard time with your collections, if your staff is walking all over you, or they're just not what you want, it's because you need policies. You've got to have a system. You've got to have structure, and it does need to be documented. It's got to be a manual. The other thing is that I've noticed a lot of owners and directors think they have policies and procedures. When I first start working with clients, they bring me something that they think is a policy and procedure manual, but it's not. If you have an employee handbook that has all the legal stuff like time off to vote, vacation time, how much you give them, your teachers for childcare credit, just the basic stuff like that, that is not a policy and procedure manual. Even if it has things like your discipline policy, right? Like your progressive discipline, or if it has something like your call-in policy, or that is not policies and procedures. That is just an employee handbook. They are two separate things. My policies and procedures go into depth to the point that I have a policy on biting. If a child bites, we have procedures we go through every single time. It's the same thing. When we're potty training, I have procedures for potty training. I literally have step-by-step guide on potty training. Nap time, I have written out guidelines. What do I expect of my teachers during nap time? What are their role during nap time? I spell everything out. And the reason for this is because, like yesterday I was telling you, if you guys want that dream team, you need to set them up for success, right? And having that written guideline is going to be what sets them up for success. And those are your policies and procedures. The other thing is when your team doesn't know how to handle a situation, or they're overwhelmed, but they know that there is a how-to book for everything. If they know that they can just go and grab this manual and there it is, all the answers, it really helps them to feel more secure in their job. It helps them to have that guidance all the time, right? So if there's always we've been through this, here you go. So for those of you guys who have seen the strategic plan I made for dealing with infectious diseases, I have something like that for everything. every time something's come up in the last 7 years that I've been an owner, I've created a policy and procedure for it. And that way, because, and you guys know, we deal with the same things over and over and over again, right? So if you have a documented policy and procedure, then those problems start going away, because every single time you just do the same thing. And that consistency ends up helping for you to take that control back. And it helps to just always just go into automatic. You know what's going on. It also trains your staff and your families to know exactly what is expected of them, right? So an example for that, my policy on collecting payments. If you guys have been with me for a while, you've heard me tell this story. When I realized I needed to start really taking control, there was 1 year we did our taxes and I had to write off $16,000 in bad debt for 1 year. Okay. And that's just when I realized, okay, I need to get a handle on this. And I basically made my documented procedures. And let's see, Vicky's asking, will the membership include a copy of that? Yes, my members get pretty much everything. Anything I've developed, I do provide for my members. The way that it works is we work on taking my policies and procedures and turning them into your own. So every week I present you guys with something different that we can work on together to help you develop it as your own. So it takes time. I mean, it's really difficult because I can't give you guys everything all at once, or what would happen is you would never use it and it really actually wouldn't come through. But the way I have it set up for you guys is we actually work on developing all of this together. And so that by the time you take mine as that's going to actually be your template that you're going to use, right? And then you make it your own. So when I do that, we do actually work on them during the 2-time-a-week calls. Originally, how I had it structured was on Tuesdays, I worked with newer centers that have absolutely no background. On Thursdays, we were working with more developed centers, but everybody really does work together all the time. After the COVID-19 crisis, it kind of just, we all just are always working together on different things. And I'm sorry, guys, if you could just, my son, Ronan. My son is interrupting me. I'm so sorry, you guys. So, Ronan, go see Miss Brandy. Thank you. I have my son reconstructing one of my classrooms, and he's looking for guidance on something. So, sorry about that, guys. So, okay, and Barbara's asking how much is my membership. The membership is $200 a month. And that really does include everything. So it also includes access to, you guys get to use me as, talk to me. We brainstorm together and work together. Whenever you need anything, you just email me. I send you what you need. So that just comes with everything that you need from me. I do actually have some different tiers too. I have a one-on-one coaching, which is a bit different. But on my website, I do have my price list. I will give you guys... I can link it to you guys so that you can see exactly what I have to offer. But that way, if anyone wants to work with me one-on-one, I do virtual work with clients also. And I'm just, and I'm also starting to get some help too from Christine, my business coach, and Christina. They're also helping because I wasn't taking any more one-on-one clients on at this time. I was actually closing it off to that. But there's so many people who need help right now. I was trying to figure out a way, how can I still get more people into help? And that's really what the membership is really all about, is I can work with more people at once. I can make it a cheaper price point. And I can just, I really wanted to figure out a way, how can I help more of you guys at a cheaper price point than what I usually do one-on-one coaching, but really just dive in and start doing the work with you. So that's where I came up with what much cheaper than what I normally charge. So getting into the policies and procedures though, what I really want you guys to think about, and the reason you really need these policies and you need that solid business foundation, right, is think of if you have a bucket and there's a hole in the bottom of your bucket, but you keep putting water into it, it keeps leaking out, right? It just keeps leaking out. Nothing helps, right? So what I want you to think of is your business as that bucket. And I want you to look at, do you feel I want you to ask yourself, that no matter what you do, your business is this leaky bucket, right? You're constantly losing staff. You're constantly losing children. It's just that you've got this constant leaky bucket happening in this business of yours, and you're never growing. And no matter, you'll enroll a child, but then you'll lose a child. You'll hire a teacher, but then you lose another one. So you're just on this hamster wheel, right? You've got this bucket that you're constantly pouring into, but it just never seems to fill. And that is because of a lack of solid policy and procedures. And if you want to stop that constant feeling of you're just doing the same thing over and over again, solid policy and procedures is how you're going to stop the leak. That's how you're going to finally take control and start growing, right? Just having that. The other thing with policies and procedures is when you know what your vision is and the culture you want and the team you want to build, that is going to be the tool that you use to implement all of that, right? It's going to be what you're going to end up using in order to build that team into what you need them to be in order to fulfill your vision. That's going to be your catalyst to getting the culture you want, right? So before you build your policies and procedures, you need to know what your vision is. You need to know what the culture you want is. And then you need to know who your dream team is going to be and what you want out of them, right? In order to get that, you're going to build your policies and procedures. Okay. And those are what's going to get them there. Some of the components that policies and procedures are going to give you are like your new hire training, your onboarding process. This is something we do work on in the membership, is the onboarding process. And onboarding is huge. If you want to keep staff, that is where you're going to start, is getting them in the door. What a lot of small business owners don't understand is onboarding staff members is a lot more than just new hire training, right? There's a lot more than you need. Onboarding starts with when you post the job for opening. Like I was talking about yesterday, right? I told you guys I do a lot of recruiting. It's a mindset shift, right? That's part of my onboarding procedures. And it is something I have documented. This isn't just something I know in my head, because my director knows too, and my assistant director, and even my staff knows. This is actually a documented system I have where, how do I find my staff? If I do have to advertise, I have a written guideline, like just, it's all pre-written. I really took a lot of time and effort in designing the ad that I'm going to create to make sure I'm attracting the right people, right? That's all. I keep that all the time. It's part of my procedure. The next thing is on your onboarding process is the interview process, right? I told you guys yesterday, I have a 3-step interview process. I start with my interview starts with the initial one, which everybody thinks is the traditional. Then I have a second portion where I have people come in and do an observation. And then I have a third portion where my teachers actually get to do an interview with this person. If they make it past all 3 portions, they go into a 90-day probationary period. Now, the 90-day probationary period is also part of my onboarding process. And with the onboarding process, they go into a 30-day new hire training. That sounds big, right? But it's not quite as bad as you think. I've incorporated the 30-day training in where whatever teacher they're working with is helping them and guiding them to learn how to fit into my culture and how to fulfill my vision. So that 90-day training is actually, or the 30-day training, the first part of it is every single day they have a worksheet they have to fill out. And it's basically like an on-the-job thing where my teachers are guiding them and helping them. They do have reading material. They have videos they have to watch. And it's basically taking them through a process so that by the end of that 30 days, they know exactly who they need to be as an employee of my center. They know the interactions I expect in the classrooms. They know how I want them to speak to children. They know how I want them to clean the classroom. Right? We get that detailed. And that's what I'm talking about when I tell you guys, no, your teachers need to know your expectations. Well, that 30-day process that my staff is going through while they're working, so it's not like they're out of a room. They're doing this while they work, but I'm very intentional about pointing out to them, when you clean a table, this is exactly what I want you to do. When you sweep the floors, this is exactly how I want you to do it. And I know that may sound like overkill to you guys, but when you look around your classrooms and question like, why aren't they doing this right? Why isn't this? It's because you haven't expressed those expectations. So when I'm onboarding my staff, if they know ahead of time and I have it in writing, documented, plus they actually have to turn a piece of paper into me at the end of every day telling me that they learned how to do all of this, it really just ingrains it into their head. So by the end of that 30 days, they know exactly what I expect of them in the classroom, right? And that is just a portion of what policies and procedures should look like. So on my onboarding is a 6-month period. My next step would be like after 2 months, well, we do weekly observations on the teachers. After that, they get a meeting with a report, even if it's just verbal, it is a report on this is what you're doing great. This is where we need improvement, and basically just guiding and coaching them, right? And then at the 30-day mark, we do also a check. My husband calls it a checkup from the head up. And we just sit them down and ask them, how are things going? What's going on? At the 2-month mark, we do the same thing. We bring them in and do a check. How are things going? What do you need help with? What could and I ask them every single time, what could we have done better to help you integrate into our center? I ask every single staff member if there's some way we can improve my new hire process, right? After their 60 days with us. We do the same thing again at 90 days and then again at 6 months. And we just do, but all the while though, after they get those weekly, so like from 30 to day 60, they're getting the weekly observations and whatnot. So after that, they're getting monthly ones. Right? So we're just constantly giving them feedback and studies do show that staff wants constant feedback. So that's just an example, you guys, of one of the procedures that I have in place and why my center runs like such a well-oiled machine. And normally when we're not going through this disaster, it's also why I don't have to be here so much anymore because my staff knows I've written everything I want, right? It's like exactly how I want things done. They have a manual for it. And the other thing I really want to stress on having a manual for it is that these are not dusty manuals that are just sitting on a shelf collecting dust. They are actively being used all the time. The way they're organized is just like they can literally pull if they're having an issue with, let's say a parent isn't paying their bill. There's just a portion. It's literally a sheet they can just pull out, know the procedures to deal with that, right? And we have very strict guidelines on how we deal with that also. And so, or if it's like a teacher using their cell phone in the classroom, there's procedures for everything. And that way my management knows how to deal with it. My staff knows what is expected. And it even teaches the parents. The parents know what we will and will not put up with. And it also makes you look like a more professional organization. In our field, we do get walked on, right? It's so easy for us to get walked on. And I am normally a very passive person. The way that I can get over that passivity is by pulling out like, well, I'm sorry, but our policy says, and just sticking to those guidelines in order to stay consistent. Consistency is the key. That's what we really want to do is make sure that we're consistent all the time. So that's something I want you guys to really think about. What are some of the things that should be in your policies and procedures, right? And remember, it's not your employee handbook. They are two separate things. We're not talking about timekeeping or vacation time or what your call-in procedures are. I'm talking about what do you want to happen on a daily basis in your classroom. If you serve lunch, how are they serving lunch, right? How are they serving meals? I mean, it's even down to like, what are the serving sizes? Things like that. It'll just give you that absolute consistency. The other nice thing about it is it really takes away a lot of the reasons parents tend to complain, right? Because if it's always the same for every child, then it will take away that need for like anyone feeling like their child isn't being treated fairly. It's just, I'm sorry, these are our policies. This is how we treat every child every time. It also helps you guys with making sure you're not opening yourself up to lawsuits. In our field, well, in any field really, when you're relying on employees, it's really difficult because you're really relying on someone else for the safety of your center when it comes to protecting yourself. But policies and procedures, and if your staff is really familiar with them and they're really following them, it's going to protect you because they're not going to be doing those things that make it so easy for you to get in trouble, right? And just a note, you guys, I'm not a lawyer, so that's not meant to be legal advice at all, but it's just, a safety net. So it's always just a safety net. So the other thing too to think about is like if you're having behavior issues with children, a lot of times it can be because you don't have that consistency. You don't have just a solid plan in your classrooms. We even have procedures for that. We have procedures on what is a behavior issue. What is it when they go too far? When is it that they are okay, right? So they're just really solid procedures on every little thing. How is our curriculum implemented? How is it written? How everything just has something behind it. So it just gives you that really professional persona, and it makes it so that I know that my values, my culture is always staying the same and consistent. The other thing I want to really just focus on too is if this is something I do highly recommend, you guys have got to get your policies and procedures, but there is really no need to reinvent the wheel. What's already out there, it's not an easy thing to write policies and procedures. It's something that took me years to complete. So there really is no reason to reinvent the wheel. You might as well use, take someone else's business model, use it, and there's no reason for you to just kind of do it on your own. Let's see, Maria said, hello, Evelyn. Hi, Maria. How are you today? So they're just really, really important to have. So what I really want you to think about is what are the things you struggle the most with, right? When your frustrations with your staff and your families, those are the things that you really need to create policies and procedures with. And those are the things that really, that's where you want to start, your pain points. And I'm sure that it's going to be collecting payments. It's going to be things like call-ins or your staff consistency. Those are the things that you're going to want to start just to help to ease that burden off yourself, right? And then just really training them. Training is super important. When I work with our members on new hire training, we really, I actually recommend that their entire staff goes through it, because most of the time, if you're just establishing those core values, if you're just establishing your vision, you're going to have to kind of start from scratch, which is not a bad thing. It's really, I'll tell you, your staff really appreciates it. They really appreciate having the guidance and the structure. It makes them feel like, I don't know, a little bit more secure. It'll make you and your staff feel less chaotic. So in the beginning, that is where I always will absolutely start. We've got to get figure out what are your policies and procedures going to be. And then we're going to develop your new hire training around that. But in the beginning, your entire staff is going to have to go through that training. That way, everybody is on board and they know exactly. And it's amazing how you just see that shift in the quality and the culture of your center. It'll just completely shift it. So that's the main place. It's really hard for me to go through on, like I said, a 45-minute to even an hour training. It's really not possible for us to do a whole thing, but I just wanted to leave you guys with knowing why is it so important to have policies and procedures. If you're struggling with time management, if you feel like your center is controlling you, if you feel like your staff is walking all over you, like your parents are walking all over you, if those are your pain points, then you've got to have policies and procedures. And if it feels so overwhelming to you guys to do that on your own, we are here to help. join my membership. I will help you develop these policies and procedures. I'll help you to systematize your processes in order to achieve that level of excellence that you want to get to. Really, what we're trying to do in order to recession-proof our centers is get ourselves to a level of excellence so that we are standing out of the crowd and people are fighting to get into your center. If you ever look at those really successful centers and that just seem to have it all together and all the kids are going there, it's because they've got that solid program, you guys. They just are really, really solid. And they've got the systems and they've got the procedures in place and they know what their vision is. They're solid in that. So, and most of the time they're corporations, right? Or most of the time they are franchises, because franchises come with all of that. They come with a solid system. But a lot of us, I know owning a franchise costs thousands upon thousands of dollars. It's just really, really expensive. So a lot of what I can help you with is to create that for yourself without spending the huge dollar amount that it would take to own a franchise, right? I can help you guys to create those solid systems and procedures without the, multiple thousands of dollars it would normally cost you to be a franchisee owner, or even just to invest and have someone do it for you. My membership, I can tell you guys, when I do contract with people to help them create it on a one-on-one basis, I charge $1,500 a month. So the $200 a month for my membership is really a steal. It really is. You're getting a lot of the same things that my $1,500 a month clients are paying me for right now. But it's a way we can do it together as a group, which is why I can bring such a lower price point. So, if you guys want to talk about it, if you're just not sure, let me know. I'm happy to schedule appointments with you guys this week. I'm happy to talk to you about becoming a member and seeing what we can do. I'm more than happy to book a consultation. So that is pretty much what I have for you guys today. Do you guys have any questions for me today? Anything else come up? There's been so much coming up lately. And by the way, I am working on getting an HR expert to be on the podcast in order to get some of the questions answered that we're dealing with right now. I did post a really good link on the site earlier today for a lot of those questions that we're all wondering about, that was actually put together by a law firm. Okay, Vicky is interested in more. Well, Vicky, when I will message you when I'm done, and maybe we can set up a time to talk tomorrow sometime, and we could talk over the phone, and I can explain to you and send you the information on becoming a member. And then that would actually be in time for you to join our group call tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. So if anybody else, and you guys, please leave your questions for me. I'm more than happy to answer them after the video. I try to go back. I've been pretty busy yesterday and today, but I will in the evenings. I usually do have time to go back and check my, what you guys have questions or concerns, and please feel free to message me. So, and just remember, 9 to 2 on Saturday, I am having that Zoom call so that we can actually talk. So if anybody else, if no other questions, I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. And I don't know where you are, but here in Northern Nevada, the weather is gorgeous. So, we have to self-isolate, but we can go for walks outside. And for me, I can go hiking, which is nice since my house backs to BLM land. So I hope you guys all have a great day. I will see you guys back here tomorrow evening. Bye.